Well, howdy folks, welcome back to the shop. So today we're going to work on my 2011 Ford F-250. There's a problem with the rear brakes. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I was looking through, I do not have pads for it. The pads do look all right. They might have got toasted a little bit, I'm not sure. So what happened is I was driving along and all of a sudden I could see smoke coming out of the rear brakes here. So we're going to investigate and find out what happened, whether the caliper froze up, and we might even possibly rebuild the caliper. Or, you know, maybe the pins froze up. If we're lucky, maybe it's just the pins, and, you know, that'll be a relatively simple fix if we have everything here. So, with enough said, so let's dive down into this and see what we can find. Okay, so I already have the wheels off of both sides and everything, but first initial inspection, you can tell they got warm. There's no real scoring in it. They are glazed a little bit, but one of the first things I like to do is go like this. Well, that tells me that this caliper released on this side. So that's a good sign at least. All right, so let's check out the other side. All right, so we're over here on the driver's side, and look at this. We cannot rotate this at all. So that tells me that this caliper did not release. So this is probably our problem guy. So let's dive into it and see what we can figure out is going on. All right, so hopefully I don't have you at a bad angle, but the first thing I like to do is to try to get in here with a screw or a pry bar and see if we can move any of this. And that whatever it was did release. So let's go ahead and start taking these bolts out here and checking these pins. Okay, so we got the caliper off. One of the first things I check is see if these move in and out freely. And the fact that they both move in and out freely, that tells me the problem's probably in this caliper. So let's start putting a little bit of tension on it and see if that's what the problem is. So right there's our problem. This piston has a problem in it because I can't squeeze it back. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take off this caliper and get it rebuilt. Alright guys, I brought you over to the passenger side of my truck here. You see me get the caliper off the other side on the driver's side. We're going to go ahead and take this caliper off, and then we're going to go ahead and inspect it too. And then I'll show you what I found on the driver's side caliper. So to get these calipers off, they're pretty simple. It's a 5/8 head on these bolts, and I already loosened them up. Same with this one down here. So we're going to go ahead and squeeze this caliper in if it'll go. And it does not feel like it wants to go. So we're going to have to pry this guy off. Alright, so I didn't want it to fall on that. Usually find a place and hang them somehow or another. But this side's probably just like the other side. Yeah. See, these pads are cooked. I'm hoping the glazing on this isn't too bad. And maybe I'll turn these on the lathe. I'm not sure what I want to do there yet. But I mean, regardless, I feel like I have to get new pads. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to bring this caliper closer. But we're going to try to squeeze these pistons in. That one's awful hard. Okay, and you see that piston is going in real easy. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to cheat a little bit, is I had a difficult time getting that piston out of the other caliper, and I'll show you that here in a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to pump the brakes a few times to kind of push this piston out a little bit. I'm not worried about wasting the brake fluid because it needs changed anyway. It should be really close to coming out if it didn't already. Okay, it did come out already. So we're gonna stop there. We're gonna take the brake line off now. And that's what these vice grips were for. I do have hose clamps, but this one doesn't close far enough. And the small one I have is on the other side. So whenever you do this, don't ever squeeze these shut, because you'll just damage that hose. So you only want to clamp it off just to stop the fluid. What I want to do is use that to kind of give me some leverage, and we're going to let all that fluid drain out. So that's how you get a stubborn piston out. My opinion, that's one of the easiest ways. You know, this piston here we already knew was moving pretty easy. This one didn't want to move, so we could probably push this one out with air. So I pushed the hard one out first. So let's get everything kind of cleaned up here, and we'll go inside the garage here and get this out and get everything cleaned up. All right, so this is the passenger side. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to knock both of these boots off. Even though that piston's still in there, it won't matter. But I found if you just tap them, boom, they come right out. Same with this one. All right. So now what we're going to do, since this piston's still in here, and like I said, that's one that moved a little bit easy, we're going to stick this in just to about right there, just not very far at all. And then we're going to put a C-clamp on it to hold it there, just like that. And then we're going to stick a couple rags in here, and I would really recommend doing this because if you have a finger or anything in there while you're trying to pressurize this, let me tell you, it's going to smash your fingers like you wouldn't believe. So we're going to, then all we're going to do is just add air and pop it right out. And the reason why I put the rags there is so it doesn't damage this piston, and it also kind of helps it keep it somewhat captured for you. Because like I said, that you heard how fast it come out. Let me tell you, it will do some damage to you. So then after that, just take off this, and then you should be able to just grab a hold of this and take it right out. So now you have both pistons and both dust seals out. Down inside here are two O-rings. They're two seals. They're not really round, but they are square O-rings. There's one of them. And here's the other one. Now what I want to show you next here is, you can see this O-ring, look, it even still has factory marks on it. It looks actually in really good shape. So that's the top seal. If you look at this one, well, it's extremely hard to see probably, but you can see the rust buildup in it, and you can see the rust buildup behind it. So what's happening is rust is getting in behind that seal, and it's probably because these dust seals went bad somewhere along the lines. I'd have to look and inspect them really good, but somewhere along the line these went bad, and water got down in behind this piston, got to the seal, and it started getting behind it. And what happens is it starts squeezing on it as the rust builds up, and that's what causes the pistons to bind up inside this the caliper here. So with that said, all we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get these cleaned off. I'll probably take and put them in some a washer, wash all the dust or the brake fluid off of it, and then we're going to stick it in a sandblast cabinet, the glass bead cabinet I mean, and we're going to clean all this stuff up. The only other thing we didn't do yet, and that is take the bleeder out. Now I've had bad luck with these too. I've had to drill them out, and I've also had really good luck, and this one's going to be okay. It's a little bit tight, but all right. So that bleeder's out. So this is basically a big chunk of iron right now. So all we need to do is get it cleaned up and start putting it back together. I might show you some of that. I might not, I'm not sure. But what I did want to show you was the other piston, or the other caliper that I got off of the passenger side, or I'm sorry, this would be the driver's side. I was not so fortunate with it. So I could not get this piston out for the life of me. It actually cracked on me while I was trying to get it out. So usually when they crack like that, the easiest thing to do, because these are some sort of composite material, I'm not sure exactly, kind of looks like it's ceramic. I'm assuming it's a ceramic piston. The easiest thing to do to get those out is take a chisel and crack it in several spots, and then it just kind of crumbles up and falls in the bottom. Then you just turn the caliper upside down and this all falls out. That's the easiest way to do it. But whenever you do that, be careful not to nick the inside of this. That'll cause you problems down the road too. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out real quick, and I'll bring you back once I get everything cleaned up and we're ready to go. All right guys, let's get these in the blast cabinet here and get these cleaned up. And there you go. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other one cleaned up, and I'll bring you back and we'll probably start painting. All right, so we got all the parts in, but just want to make sure you guys know, whenever you get these cleaned up here, this seal area in here, make sure you get that area cleaned. I mean, extremely cleaned, because if there's any type of debris or whatever that can get behind that O-ring that's in there, which is the seal, you're gonna have problems with the pistons sliding in and out smoothly. But you can see that I got everything sandblasted up. I found some paint on the shelf. It happened to be high temp silver. Silver happened to look good for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get the bleeders put in, and I did chase these threads with the tap and dye and everything to make sure everything was good on that end too. But I am going to add a little bit of anti-seize. Not quite that much. That was a little bit of a glob there. But onto these threads here of this, just because it can't, you know, it can't hurt. They weren't froze up on me, so that was a good sign. And then we have our cap to go over top of it. And I'm just finger tightening those in because, you know, once we get bleeding on the brakes on there, we're going to have to, you know, loosen that up and take that out and everything. So I'm trying to get the right camera angle here, but so the seal kit usually comes with, basically this is a dust seal, so there's your 2 dust seals, and then there's your basically your sealing ring. And this kit actually came with the new grommets to go over top of the bleeders, so that was kind of nice. So that kit for this vehicle is FH41305, and they're made by FVP. I did get new pistons. This is a brand new one here. For the price of them, I decided to just go ahead and get new. You don't have to. A lot of times you can reuse them, you know, and here's what the old one looked like. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using this over. But I think they were $5 or $6 a piece, you know, and here's the part number for that. They're made by Centric, and it's 145.48006. All right, so if you're going to do these calipers, I kind of recommend you putting them in a vise like this, because it really helps getting these seals and getting the pistons pushed in. And some of these are a little bit more difficult to get in than others. So first thing we're going to do is put the main seal in, or the piston seal, and lube that up just a little bit with brake fluid or Vaseline, you know, something like that. But you just need a little bit wet. I don't like to put anything together dry, especially when it comes to fluids. And then you just kind of work it in with your finger, and it'll just kind of flop right in there, just like that. And then run your finger around it, make sure it seats right, make sure it's not twisted, you know, anything like that. And then get the second one. Same thing, it's all lubed up. And then, like I said, walk it around. There actually is a tool for doing that. I don't have it. There's one new piston. And you want to do the same thing with these, is you want to get these lubed up a little bit. Now, sometimes when they're new, they can be a little bit of a pain to get in. But you don't want to force them, so you want to make sure that they go in. Usually a butt of a hammer works well. Just like that. Like I said, they can be tight. Alright, so that's in. Now these boots, I decided to put them on after. They're actually pretty easy to put in. There's not really much that holds these in. It's the rust that prevents them from coming out so easy. But you can see, that's pretty much it. Sometimes you have to tap them, you know, or use a piece of pipe or something, but I can already tell that these are in. Yeah, see, they're definitely in. And then these, you just kind of work them around, use your finger, and there it is. Same with this one. You just kind of grab it, work the lip around, and then use your nail. You can use like a smooth blade flat screwdriver or something too if you want. Just be careful not to poke the new dust seal. But that is pretty much it. So I already got this one here done off of camera. So we're ready to get these installed back on the truck and go from there. All right, guys, so one of the things you want to make sure you do before you put everything back together is make sure that these pins are well lubricated, because a lot of times the problems are in these pins and people don't realize that. But anyway, we got new pads on here. They're on, so all we need to do is basically put our new caliper on, or not our new, but you know, the one we just rebuilt. And I already have the bolts anti-seized up, so all we have to do is just put those in. All right, so now that that's done, we need to get our banjo bolt and put our line back on. And one of the things you need to make sure is make sure that these copper washers are in place before you put it back on. Otherwise, that is going to be a guaranteed leak. And don't go crazy tightening that bolt either. But once you get that all done, you can take your hose clamp off back here. And pretty much good to go. Now all there is to do is bleed the brakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack this bleeder open, and I'm kind of let it gravity feed. All right, so now we're going to take and hook the auto bleed up and put a little bit of vacuum on it. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then we'll loosen up the brake line, or the bleeder. And I was never a fan of these things, and this is the reason why, is because you know, the air leaks past the thread on these bleeders, so how can you tell that you're not getting any air? But anyway, I'm gonna see if I can find a friend to help bleed this the normal way that I'm used to, because I'm not having luck with this. I've never had luck with this. All right, so I had someone come out and help me bleed these brakes, so we're in good shape to go. So all we're gonna do next is I'm gonna put the tires and stuff back on, and we'll call this job complete. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Here is the part number for the pistons, if you need it. And then here is the part number for the seal kit, or the rebuild kit, if you need it. Hopefully it's not too dark. I noticed it looks like it's a little dark on the camera there. If it's not, I'll put it down below. But anyway, I thank you for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you can. And until next time, take care.